How's it going, everybody? Thanks for watching another video. So a few days ago, we all find out that Joe Rogan will be leaving YouTube in September to exclusively be on Spotify, so congratulations to him. So this video is all about, if you don't know who Joe Rogan is and you don't follow his podcast, here's some reasons why you should. First of all, if you're not too familiar with who Joe Rogan is, he's an actor slash comedian slash commentator, but he's been in the business for a super long time. He was on a sitcom back in the 90s called News Radio with Phil Hartman. He's the voice of UFC MMA. He did Fear Factor, that show where you eat gross things, and he's a stand-up comedian. Now, let's say you didn't know any of that about Joe Rogan and you just seen him walking down the street. You would think he's an ordinary meathead muscle guy. He's kind of bald, got tats, and you're like, this guy doesn't know anything. But I promise you guys, the amount of information that Joe Rogan has in his head is incredible. And that leads me to my first reasons why you should follow Joe Rogan to Spotify. The range of guests, the variety of people that go onto his show is incredible. It ranges from high-profile politicians to experts in whatever field he feels curious about, all the way to hanging out with his stand-up comedian buddies. And I promise you, it is the most entertaining conversations you've ever seen. And that's another crazy thing about Joe Rogan's show, is that there are so many different types of guests that come on his show. You would think it's impossible for him to keep his knowledge up to date with all of them, but he does it. I don't want to even imagine how many audiobooks he's listened to or how many people are helping him research for these guests. But when that guest comes on his show, it doesn't matter if they're talking about UFOs or stand-up or politics or archaeology or science. He knows extremely specific intricacies of whatever book or article they're talking about, and he's able to hang in there with the best. Another thing I really dig about Joe Rogan's podcast is his format. It is an extremely long format. I don't know of anybody that can run a podcast for 3 hours. It's non-scripted. It's super laid back. Sometimes they smoke out. Sometimes they drink whiskey, bourbon, or whatever. And you cannot hide. Like when you're a politician and you're on that show and it's not scripted and he's just firing questions at you, there's nowhere to hide. Like, your true personality comes out. And it's not like you're listening to like 5 or 10 minute little tidbits of somebody talking. You get a really good feel for what that person is like after listening to them for 3 hours. And that leads me to my final point, is during those 3 hours, it doesn't matter who that guest is on the show, if it's a high profile politician or a best friend hanging out, he's always asking the questions that matter because he has curiosity, and it shows. The guests that he have on his show, he has curiosity about whatever that subject is. Like, let's take UFOs, for example. He's kind of like me. We really want to believe that UFOs are real. And even though he has guests on the show that have really strong evidence that they exist, he always treats the information that he's getting, like how and why, where did you get it from? He's always trying to disprove it because he knows that he's subject to biases, and he's really sharp on that. So it's not like he's choosing a side. He just wants to get what the truth is. And that's what's really great about Joe Rogan. So if you haven't seen his podcast, you got to go check him out. Not only is it entertaining, but it's also very informational. It's going to be a real bummer not to have him on YouTube, but man, for the amount of money that Spotify is offering him, wee, I hope I get that offer too. But guys, that's the ending of the video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, please give it the thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to Kimo365, please do. Remember, catch you guys laters.